Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of To the Max Outdoors. It is mid-January. I'm sitting down here in my little man cave utility room in the basement. I was going through my fishing reels and fishing rods, getting ready for the season. The state, West Virginia, stocks trout once in January, twice in February, and every week March through May. Get on the website and look at what rivers they are, wv.gov. And they'll tell you what rivers are stocked. But the majority of the better rivers and even lakes in the state will get stocked every week, March through May. So that allows us to get out and do a good deal of fishing. Now I have three primary mountain rivers, streams, whatever you want to call them, that I fish the majority of. And that's what you see on the channel. Now, fortunately for Max and I's little YouTube channel here, we've been getting really good views and a lot of comments and questions on our trout fishing videos. So as I was going through here at the beginning of the year, I have not made it out yet to fish, which is very unlike me, but I've been super busy. So I go through everything at the beginning of the year. I'll take my rod or my reels apart, I'll hit them down, I clean them up, and then I hit them with some rim oil. Now I really like this rim oil with Teflon for reels. I don't like this for guns, but I like it for my reels because it puts a buttery smooth action to them. So that's just my opinion. But in this video, we're just going to do a general rundown of what reels I use and the rods that I've been using for a long time. So that being said, I'm a huge Trout Magnet follower. I love what those guys do. They were born and bred here in West Virginia, the Trout Magnet was, so they're really special to me. And you can get on Trout Magnet's website, ask those guys any questions you want, and I guarantee you they're going to respond to you. They're absolutely great people. I know they're based in Arkansas now, but absolutely phenomenal people. So that being said, over the years I've adapted to their style of fishing. Now Trout Magnet, which I fish majority of the time, has to be fished different than probably what the majority of us grew up fishing. I'm gonna say the majority of us. Anybody that started fishing in the 80s through the 90s probably fished with a 4-foot pole, spinner bait, maybe a crankbait, mealworm, floating a night crawler. I mean, there's a ton of different ways, but this style is really different, and I get a lot of weird looks on the river when I got a 9-foot rod in my hand. But we'll go over that technique here in a minute, or I'll brief you on that technique in a minute. But my primary fishing rod, my go-to rod I should say, is a 9-foot Trout Magnet Trinity series pole. Now I will tell you that this 9-foot pole here is stupid light action. It is really flimsy, and it's 9 foot long. That 9-foot rod enables you to make it's not uncommon for me to fish a 100-foot drift or a 100-yard drift. Trout Magnet is designed to be fished just off the bottom. You can read into their website, they'll tell you better about it, but I know the basic theory of it. You want that little Trout Magnet jig head to just be right at the bottom, right in line with that fish's feeding habits. So this 9-foot light action rod allows you, one, to cast a 64th ounce jig head and a few BB split shots and a tiny little bobber of your choice. I can cast this thing way further than anybody would ever imagine how far they'll cast. So the high points, it'll let you get a long drift. It'll let you be able to mend your line without affecting your float. And when you go to hook set, you're almost kind of high sticking. You're not fighting line laying on the water to try to make a hook set. So that's just my opinion of it, and you see me fish with it a lot, and I really love it. There again, it's a 9-foot Leland Lures Trout Magnet Trinity series 2-piece rod. I love the handle part of it there. You have excellent control. Boom, you can hook set. I couldn't say anything better about this specific rod. Now this specific rod is going on probably year number 12 for me of this rod, this identical rod. And I'll tell you, over the years, I even adapted this rod to start crappie fishing with it out of the boat, or perch fishing with it. So it's hard to tell the thousands of fish that this rod has caught. And my eye seats are still good. The unbelievable quality craftsmanship in this rod. Now, I'm not exactly sure where they're made. It doesn't say where it's made, and I don't even know who makes them. I know somebody makes them for Leland Lures Trout Magnet, but I can't tell you who, but whoever it is done an amazing job. And I'm hard on these reels. I'm walking through the woods all the time. You see me slip there back in the fall. I mean, I fall down. Absolutely excellent quality. None of my eyes are broken off. All the epoxy holding the eyes on are solid. Couldn't speak any more highly of those craftsmanship, so that's great. The other rod you'll see me or Max fishers with this one a lot. It is a 6'6" two-piece Trout Slayer series rod. Now it has a fast action tip on it that allows you to be able to feel tremendously. The tip is not as limp as the big one because it's a shorter action rod, but what that does is it transfers that wee little short strike right back into the reel seat. You can feel that hit. You can feel the fish just barely bumping on it. There again, you can still do 50, 60, 70 yard drift with this rod. It's long enough. You can get the line up out of the water. You can mend the line proper with it. And you can still get a decent hook set at 50, 60 yards away because you're able to mend that line above your bobber without messing the float up. There again, 6'6" Trout Slayer series. It's got the same two-piece butt here that's really good. Max loves this pole. I fish with this pole a lot if I'm going to throw a crankbait. There's some situations where Trout Magnet doesn't work, you know, and I'll throw a trout crank or maybe even a spinner bait. You know, sometimes I'll switch it up and throw different things, but if I'm going to throw anything other than a Trout Magnet, this is a 6'6" rod. This is my go-to rod. These two rods are mine. Max has the identical two, and then there's 4 more of them over on the fishing rod rack. We're never going to be out of them because that's how much we love them. And there again, Max perch fishes and crappie fishes with this rod when we're in the boat, and I do too. They're great rods for dead sticking in the boat because they're so sensitive in the feeling out of them. So, couldn't speak more highly of those two rods there. If anybody's interested in them, go to Trout Magnet's website, look it up. Trout Slayer series 6'6", and the Trinity series is the 9-foot rod. You won't be upset with either purchase. Now, when you read on their website, they used to recommend Shimano Sedona 500s. I have a pile of them. Unfortunately, in Shimano's infinite wisdom, they quit making these reels. So the ones I have, I take care of, and that's why I've set down now. What I'll do is I'll take the drums off of them, and I'll take the gears out of them. I'll clean the old grease out of them, repack them, re-oil them. They're great rods. They don't hold a ton of line, but that's fine. They're buttery smooth at all times. They have the elliptical line runner on them, so they're good about not winding back up a loop. When you're fishing with that 9-foot rod, you might have 150 yards of line out, and out of that 150 yards of line, you may have 60 or 80 yards of it that's limp laying on the water. And you're not wanting to mess your float up, so you're trying to reel that limp line up. That elliptical line runner keeps you from winding loops up. Great design on their part. But there again, Trout Magnet recommends those. I bought them and I've been in love with them for the last 20 years, and I'll buy every one of them I find on eBay and build them back up because I absolutely love them. And to go ahead one step even further to tell you how much I really love Trout Magnet products is I always run Trout Magnet SOS 2-pound line as the main line on the reel. I've used it for years. I've caught many fish way over 2 pounds with it, and it's a phenomenal line. It's a low memory line. it's just really good monofilament. It's not fluorocarbon, it's monofilament, but it's a great line. It doesn't loop, it doesn't keep a memory on it, and I can fish the majority of the spring with the same line without it getting a bad memory to it. A lot of your river fishing, float fishing will try to twist your line really bad, and we've all been, anybody that's fished any amount at all will know that if you're trying to fish moving water and you're trying to drift it, it's always constantly trying to wind your line up. And they figured it out with this. There again, I don't know who makes it for them, but they did their homework, they did their research. The guys at Trout Magnet did their homework, did their research, and put their name on something that's phenomenal. So there again, great stuff. Been running it for 20 plus years, and I will not switch from it. That's how much I like it. And so that's my main line, and then I'll always run a leader anywhere from 12 to 18, maybe sometimes 20 inches, depending on the finickiness of the fish and the water clarity. I may use a longer leader, I may use a shorter leader. There again, back to the Trout Magnet. You know, I run their Phantom 100% fluorocarbon. Now, I do buy this in a 5X, which is like a 4-pound, and I got a 2-pound backer. Well, why do I do that? And the reason is they do make this Phantom in a 2-pound, but if you're not paying attention, I tie a blood knot from the leader to my jig head. It's a blood knot, and if you don't keep that fluorocarbon wet, you're going to abrade it when you're starting to cinch the knot down. 2-pound test early in the year when your fingers are cold and the water's cold and the line's probably freezing on your eyes. It'll abrade that 2-pound to the point where every time you try to cinch a knot, you'll get a bad spot in the line. And that's always in the back of your head, because if you catch that trophy trout, which, well, they're not in this room, but if you catch a trophy trout, you don't be worrying about your leader or your line breaking. So that's my reason for using 4-pound Phantom. 2-pound SOS is the backup. Great success over the years with using Trout Magnet stuff. Couldn't speak more highly of those guys. And I appreciate the views on the fishing videos, and we're going to start cranking it out. Like I said, it's middle of January. This is getting my gear ready right here. Hopefully when I get some free time here, we're going to start hitting the rivers as hard as we can, and I'll bring you guys all the footage. So thanks for watching To The Max Outdoors.